getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the down pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult. The understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah,
It's all about the entertainment, so I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And the Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 100% Div 2 round 29 live from Homestead in Miami. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by the one here, the young lady Maria Subra here as well. So thank you so much for joining us at plans to be an absolute epic evening of racing. 1.5 mile racetrack here. Well, what more can you ask for? 32-second lap times, 27 cars on the track ready to race around, and let's bring you up the current scores on the doors at the moment here as well. Adam Benefield is out in front on 888 points. 62 points back from that is Jason Taylor, and then in third is Patrick Gitter, 76 points back from him on 812. Derek Heitman on 789. Then you got Wayne Grass on 629. Matt Dicciani on 624. Andrew Dyson on 617, tied with Tanner Marty. Jonathan Delaney is in ninth. And then you got Bruno Mello rounds out your top 10. And then after that, you can look at Robert Anderson, Mark Paget, DL Lemon, Randy Drumhealer, and Neil Pearson is your top 15. Don't forget this weekend, guys, as well, if you are down in the Miami area, they are holding the double header of the NASCAR Truck and Xfinity Series tomorrow on October 21st, and then on the Sunday they've got the NASCAR Cup Series for October 22nd. Head to homesteadmiamispeedway.com and you'll be finding out all your ticket information there as well. But let's bring Rhea into the booth here as well. Rhea, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing good tonight. I'm actually very excited tonight. I got a bunch going on, and I'm excited to watch these cars go around this great track.
Yeah, this circuit itself is obviously one of the most famous ones. You know, at the end of the day, this circuit has been going for quite a while in conjunction. It did break ground on 1993. The dedication date was on November 3rd, 1995, with the first inaugural race of the NASCAR Xfinity Series for the Jiffy Lube Miami 300 on November 5th, 1995 as well. The banking here, what are the drivers going to have to tend to contend with? Well, in the turns, it's 18 to 20 degrees progressive banking, 3 degrees on the straight. Now, the track record here is a 24.682. That was set by Sam Hornish Jr. and the Dallara IO3 back in 2004 in the IndyCar series here as well. So this is going to be a really interesting one. You can see the banking here around the corners, and then they're going to have to come off the banking and almost deal with that very shallow, very flat back and front stretch here. That's going to be difficult alone because the car can unsettle rear as it comes off the corners, can't it? When you're coming off 20-degree banking going down literally to 3, it can unsettle the car and cause some very interesting incidents.
Yeah, not only that, the high line here tends to ruin tires quite quickly, so they're going to have to try to stick to the low line, which means coming out of that corner, they have to really keep it under control, try to, let it go out to the outside of the track, but not let it get too loose. And then on top of that, there is a little bit of braking going into the corner as well. So there's another point where you have to watch out for your tires and make sure you're not wearing them down too heavily.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. They do have 5 tyre sets, so the one they're on plus the 5. We are looking at 200 laps of racing. Stage 1 at lap 45. Stage 2 at lap 90. They're going to be able to have 1 fast repair, and there will be 3 green-white checkers here. Hopefully, though, touch wood, we won't need them. Welcome in. If you are here, say hi. And don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on the bells, because that would be absolutely amazing. With these amount of drivers on track, though, 27 cars hurtling around a 1.5 mile oval, it could get quite interesting, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's very likely to, just because of the how many cars there are, the denseness of the packs and such. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe towards the later stages a couple of cautions come out, just because, again, tire wear here is going to be a bit of a problem if people are running that high line. And it's conceivable that some people might want to just run that line and try and pull away from the pack and not really pull them along, because it's a very straight track that is going to rely on drafting a lot. So you putting a gap between you and the car behind you is definitely going to help you, pull away, as long as you have somebody else with you as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we are going to be looking out for, will be this pack racing that we do long for here. We are into qualifying at the moment. The guys will have literally 5 minutes to basically put some 2 laps down on the board to be able to tell you where they're going to be. Now, qualifying, as we know, within the NASCAR series is not always important as it is in a road series as front, because normally in a road series you want to jump and make a run at the start. In NASCAR ovals, not that important, but we've seen some interesting races here as well. We were at Las Vegas last week where Derek Heitman took the win. It was a very interesting evening of racing last week at Vegas. They did have 10 cautions, which, some may say was a little bit on the high side. Were there mistakes that was easily to be missed, whether drivers making silly errors? Well, I always find that a difficult situation, I think, to try and contend with. Yeah, you may sit back and people may sit back and go, well, 10's very high, very high. Well, it may be, but at the end of the day, it's tough racing, and when they're doing 201 laps, it's always going to have a caution involved in it. I don't think it's ever going to be completely caution-free. Even the race that we did last night, where we were expecting it to be caution-free, there was cautions coming out of that as well. So, NASCAR has its theory that obviously some cautions can be avoided, some cautions cannot be avoided, and I think if we're within that 10 range this evening, maybe, I think it could make for a very, very interesting race on the positioning of people within this grid and this race that they're in at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard towards even the middle of the race to even have a real inkling of who could win, because even a single caution here it bunches up the whole pack. Somebody from the very back could get a really good run. There could be different tire strategies that just allow them to cut their way through the entire pack and make it up to even the top 5 or so. So it'll be really hard to have any real sense. I mean, you'll have a little bit of an idea of maybe this driver's doing a little better tonight, they're a bit faster, but it'll be hard to really definitively call till pretty much the end of the race, and seeing how many cautions and such we get, how many tire sets people use. It'll be interesting to see the strategies and such being deployed here.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we do look out for. Obviously, stage 1 at 45, they're just going to be getting off the start, getting themselves in position, seeing what their car's going to do, whether it's going to be set up for a short run, set up for a long run, how's it going to handle, what can be adjusted, what they can deal with in the process. And then they've got the second part running up to the stage 2 and lap 90, where again, and now in that theory stage of just ticking off laps, making sure that they're in positions. They've got a better understanding. And then that third run from 90 to 200, that's where they're going to be more serious about the fact of where they're going to place their car, where are they going to make sure they're in the right position, trying to stay out of trouble. And I think that's going to be one of the interesting things that we're going to be looking out for, is that movement within the pack. We have got the grid. It is Jamie Knopf out in first place with Patrick Gitter in second. Andrew Dyson from DBR Racing third. Jonathan Delaney in fourth. Sean O'Brien Jr. in fifth. Matt Long in sixth. Nick Alford seventh. And then Derek Heitman, last week's Vegas winner, in eighth place. Cameron King ninth. Randy Drumhill 10th. Eli Sazak 11th. And Jordan Pearson down in 12th place. Benjamin Stevens 13th. Wayne Grass 14th. Chad Kibb 15th. Matt DiGianni down in 16th. Lucas Abreu in 17th. Pedro Palladino in 18th. And then your championship leader, Adam Benefield, down in 19th. Danilo Coelho in 20th. Jason Taylor 21st. Dalton Mulberry 22nd. Randy Belk 23rd. And Damaris Hinkenbottom down in 24th. Ben Tracy in 25th. Brian Messer 26th. Nick Shell 27th. Bruno Mello 28th. And then Jacob Quayle in 29th. It's interesting out of that grid that Jason Taylor and Adam Benefield are down in 19th and 21st place respectively. Those two are obviously fighting it out in that championship battle. Quite a shock for some to sit back and see them that far down.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that there's so little time between everybody on the grid. Even when it seems like a lot, most other races, a second is a decent amount of time, but it's not the end of the world. In NASCAR, that is a ton of time. So even just a couple of tenths of a second is a lot, and everybody here is really close to each other.
Yeah, they definitely are as well. As you see, Jamie Knopf there inside, and then we can go out and have a look. You see the pace car on the outside. That inside line is running round the pit exit. The top side have gone out straight away on the side of the circuit. They will be settling in to their lines now once more, as we're going to be getting ready to run and getting ready to green. Watch out for the strategies. That's going to be very important here. They want to make the most of their strategies. They want to make the most of what's being given to them. If there's cautions, they may take the option of going in. If there isn't, then they won't. But let's see how this one pans out here for the Div 2 at Homestead, Miami, for 200 laps. Here as well, 28 cars on the track ready to race around. I don't think Jacob Quayle has taken to it there as well. The pace car's going to be in. There is Barney waving his flag on the right hand side, and this 200 lap race is up and running, and it is green, green, green. Jamie Knopf leads us away with Patrick Gitter, Jonathan Delaney and Andrew Dyson, your top four at the moment. Dyson down one to the outside, that number 6 APX car of John Delaney with the 24. Sean O'Brien tucked him right behind him. What do we think on the way this is going to be run here? Are we going to be looking at a single line race, do we think? Or do we think we're going to be in with this two line race that we may see, or this two column of cars? You can almost see it here with Jonathan Delaney on the outside. There's people moving now to run that higher line and come out from the outside down to the bottom. He's still on that outside. Wayne Grass is another one that's on the inside with that Benjamin Stevens 50 car on that high side line. So already, Rio, we're seeing double lines here as well. Different various positioning of the car. I think this could be one of the most interesting races we're going to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I had mentioned earlier that that high line starts to wear down your tires, but it's not really a bad thing to run there because you end up gaining a lot more speed. So you might end up out in front with a smaller pack that you can start running that low line and saving your tires. So to answer your question from earlier, it's very possible we may just see one line if everybody's trying to just conserve tires, but it's definitely not unlikely to see two, to see people being forced out to the outside and taking that high line and making the most of it, and then just having to adjust their pit strategies based on that.
Yeah, definitely. We're on board with a 24, Sean O'Brien Jr. here as well. He is in that Ford Mustang on that line. You can see the line already developing, and right behind us at the moment is Derek Heitman, who is running that lower line, closely followed behind from Nick Alford from Fine Line Motorsports, running right behind him as well. So there's going to be a lot of interesting ways of they're going to be able to deal with this, I think, as it's gonna be one of them races where they've got to be making the most of their opportunity they're given. You know, we're looking back now from Jordan Pearson in that Camry. We got Eli Sazak right behind us, and then Jonathan Delaney, who's down 7 places in 11th at the moment. And that just goes to show that if you're on that high line without much help, you end up where Jonathan Delaney does. He's sitting down in 11th place. He got strung out on that outside line and didn't really have much place anywhere else to really go from there.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened to Damaris Hickenbottom. He's all the way down in last place. He's losing that pack a little bit, which is not something you want to happen. And unfortunately, once it does, there's very little you can really do to make up for it. I mean, it's just such a rough thing to lose the draft and watch the cars just leave you behind. And it's a mental thing for NASCAR where... Actually, it's a mental thing for any kind of racing where you start losing the car in front of you. It just ends up frustrating you more. You make minor mistakes, and it just doesn't help at all. So, yeah, it's going to be some very tight racing. It's very exciting racing pretty much this entire night is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get too many cautions.
Well, we'll see on that one. We can pick up the Ford Mustang of Damaris Hickenbottom there as well. You can see he is losing time to the pack in front of him at the moment, and it's going to be tough for him to try and start recovering on that one. We've got Wayne Grass in that number 3 Chevy there, trying to make a move on the inside of Ben Stevens. He has taken that low line. Delaney's now trying to make his way back up towards the 4th place where he started this race. Currently didn't really produce it. I think the outside line was probably looking for a little bit more help, and Delaney just didn't get that, and unfortunately just dropped down the circuit. Sean O'Brien is another man who's got Nick Alford right behind him, and then Derek Heitman, obviously last week's winner in Vegas. And that was one of the interesting things I think we watched about some of that racing as well. It was a very, very interesting racing. It's quite different from what you can watch in other league races. I think that's one of the things. You know, you're obviously talking here within this NASCAR environment. They brought a good league up. These guys are 100% here as well. You know, they've got a good intake of drivers. This is obviously the feeder series to go up to their Cup Series, which is tomorrow. So, you know, they're definitely doing it right down here. And I think the different ways of driving, you can probably notice between league to league, because obviously you've got the odd league that is just literally like crash bang wallop, then you've got others that are nice and clean but have the odd incidents, and then you've got one that can be nice and clean and have 3 or 4 cautions. So it's a very mixed bag of league racing in NASCAR, I find, and some people kind of make a bigger meal out of the situation than it needs to be. You know, these guys are knowing what they're doing. You know, the Jonathan Delaney is a pro in NASCAR or oval racing within iRacing. You know, the guy's got a bit of a clue. You're not sitting at 7K with a pro license for no reason. You know what I mean? So I think the fact that I'm not surprised that we haven't had a caution early, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't actually get a caution until the first stage break.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that we don't. Some green flag racing all the way through, but that would be really pleasant to see. And yeah, like you were saying, we do have quite a mixed bag of leagues that we've seen for oval. It's just such an interesting racing environment because crash avoidance becomes such a big thing where somebody just getting a little loose can turn into the whole field crashing pretty quickly, as opposed to, you know, in road races, you just go off the track and, you know, that's your race, maybe not done, but damaged. Whereas NASCAR, you have a wall next to you. There's nowhere you're going. You're going into the next car if you get touched. And a bad way.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the things here as well. They've obviously got that fast repair that they can rely on if they do get in a heavy incident. Andrew Dyson sitting in second at the moment with the only Australian in the field. We've got 4 Brazilians here this evening. Lucas Subra, Pedro Palladino, Danilo Coelho and Bruno Melo are here as well. So good representation from the South Americans from Brazil here. This could be a really interesting one as well. So it's now becoming, I think with NASCAR as well at the moment, it's now becoming a multi-world environment. You know, anybody can have a go within iRacing. I think that's one of the best things about, obviously, the simulator. You know, I can go from driving NASCARs on an oval to go and drive a W13 around Hockenheim and think I'm Max Verstappen. You know, it's a great mix, and I think that we're seeing that with the different country representation in certain classes of racing that you wouldn't expect. You know, you wouldn't necessarily expect Brazilians in NASCAR. You wouldn't expect Andrew Dyson, who's sitting in Australia, to run NASCAR as well. You know, there's a great mixed bag now, and more people are getting involved in NASCAR, and I think that can, you know, only be a good thing for the sport in general, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the big things is, we've talked about it here before, that from the outside, it seems like you just turn left. It's not fun. Who wants to do that? But the second you get in that car, you realize it's a lot more than that. There's a lot of endurance to it. There's a lot of focus. There's a lot of nuance as well with the bump drafting, knowing how to square up on a car, knowing how to be pushed, because being pushed down the straight, your car gets a little loose and you have to know how to handle that. There's just a ton to it that I don't think people really understand fully until they get in the car, and once you do, it's a lot of people seem to get hooked at that point.
Yeah, I think that's generally one of the things here. You know, you've got to make it. Oh, Dyson's very running that very close line to the wall there. As you can see with Jamie Knopf out in front of us in that 84 Camaro there. You can see the different lines that's almost being run just by looking off the front right of this car at the moment. If you are obviously sitting on the driver's side, yes, it is the front left if you are standing in front of it. We do understand that one as well. You know, there's multiple different ways of entering at Miami. There's multiple different ways of exiting out of Miami. We've got this very one line running at the moment. Even Lucas Subra, Pedro Palladino down with Jason Taylor. Matt Dicciani out of Benefield, of course, is leading the championship. Randy Belk down in 21st with Dalton Mobley there as well. Danilo Coelho behind him in that 95 Dragon car, all the way down to Bruno Melo, who's sitting at the back, but has the open time up to Port Damaris Hinkenbottom, who got left out there and is 12 seconds back away from the pack. These front two, though, opened up that second gap at the moment over third and fourth here, which does consist of Long, Heitman and Gitter. But the front two are opening up a little bit of a gap and starting just to edge away a little bit.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. The two of them are taking such great lines, and not only that, they're also working together very well. You can see Dyson giving Knopf a little bit of a bump draft on the straightaways, and they're both just working together so well, and you can see what that amounts to on a track like this, on a super speedway, where it's just so long on the straights that, like I said, that bump draft just gives them such an advantage, and the two of them know how to handle it so well right now. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if they, well, it will be interesting if they get a caution, but I'm not hoping for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we're 20 laps in, we're 25 away from the first stage break, so that will be on lap 45. So that's going to be an interesting one. We'll see who takes the stage victory there as well. Don't forget, they get 10 points for the stage win. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then it's 40 points for the win in the race. 35 second, 34, 33. All the way down to 40th place, where they get 1 point. So there is a 5-point gap between first and second. in the general overall points, and it's 10-9, 10 points for the win on the stage, with 9 there as well. So the stage is well worth going for if you're sitting at the front of the field. You can see at the moment in the bottom right hand corner there is their speedometers. They're going to be hitting round about 178, maybe touching 180 miles an hour, and that's going to be the speeds they're clocking up. You can see on the top right hand corner they've got the number 28 car, which is Damaris Ingerbottom, in front of him. He has lost so much time so quickly. Dyson's now going down on that inside line, and not almost looks like he's just let him take that away there, I think, for the number 84 car. There wasn't much body language of I'm going to throw a block here or I'm going to throw a block there, because at this stage of the race there's really no need to be throwing blocks around any point. You know, you've got to just be looking at the fact that let's get these laps down, let's get them off, let's survive, let's get the car where we need to. And that's the thing, they're still in that working out the car phase. How has it been over the first sort of 25 laps on the short run? How will it be by the time I get to the first 45 on that little bit of a longer run? And I think these drivers are going to be doing a little bit more working out on the cars than you would necessarily do in an official race, for instance, where you jump in, press the pedal and hope for the best. And generally you do hope for the best in a NASCAR official at times, especially down with my piddly IR, you know, so it's going to be tough for them. There's a lot to work out. There's a lot of different strategies. There's a lot of thinking about what your car's doing, how's your tyres going to be doing, what you're going to be doing there once more. As we see Chad Kibble there with Pedro Palladino, Jordan Pearson and Benefield. Benefield's just made his way past Jordan Pearson. He's just making that move as well. Pearson's just lost 3 places within the space of half a lap there. So for Jordan Pearson, he just wants to be a little bit careful to make sure he isn't plummeting down too far. Lot to think about, lot to contend with while you're in the car, and making sure that you just stay out of trouble at this point in the race.
Yeah, and to touch on your earlier point about the officials, if this was an official race, we would have already had the 10 cautions that you predicted. So they're definitely doing a really good job at keeping it clean, handling their cars really well. I'm going to guess that most of the drivers here, probably not all of them, but most of them probably have their cars more geared towards those longer runs, especially in Miami during the day. The track is going to be pretty warm, so probably going to want to, what's it right now?
38.
Yeah, 29 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, 38 degrees at the moment, so it's going to be a bit of a warm one. Obviously in that Miami heat there, Randy Belt behind with Randy Drumiller currently mixing it up with Danilo Coelho there as well. So that is getting a little bit more interesting as well. I do love Drumiller's livery there, in that Vernon's livery. Looks absolutely amazing. So a good job there as well. Benjamin Stevens, and now we've got 2 lines of 2 there once more with Lucas Abreu and also Chad Kidd, Ben Stevens, Wayne Grass, Pedro Palladino. It's almost going to be taking it 3 wide currently at the moment. Down that stretch into turn 1 we go. And that got a little bit dicey for a little bit of a period of time there, and I don't believe this is still over yet, as Pedro Palladino is running that high line as well. Adam Benefield makes up another place. He's +6 on the day. He's moving through slowly as the championship leader. How far can he get? As Sean O'Brien looks like he may have just had a little bit of a brush with a wall there on that outside, as he has dropped a few positions. But really, for Adam Benefield, it's got to be more important. He's got to start making his way through the field, isn't he, really, and trying to pass some of these cars that are situated in front of him.
Yeah, right now they're starting to lose that gap. The pack that ends with Jonathan Delaney is almost 2.5 seconds ahead of the current pack that Benefield is in, so he really doesn't want to be held up too much longer. He's going to have to start making some pretty strong moves here to not lose that pack, because as we've already seen from Damaris Hickenbottom, he's about to be lapped, unfortunately, just running that track alone. It's we've talked about it before, that the draft is so powerful that when you're alone, it's just not, there's not really any chance of matching lap times with the people with the front runners.
No, definitely. It's almost like they long and windy road there for Damaris Ingerbottom. He's going to have to try. Well, I don't know what he's going to have to try, to be honest. We've got our first pit stop at the moment. Sean O'Brien into the pits. Delaney there with Nick Alford right behind him. And then you got Andrew Dyson leading the race with Jamie Knopf, Matt Long, Patrick Gitter. They've started closing in. It's almost like a 4-pack out in front, maybe possibly even 5, with Derek Heitman right behind on this lap 30 mark. There is Damaris Ingerbottom. He's just going to stay well out of the way. He lost a pack early, and unfortunately for Damaris, he's just dropping down and down and down. So that will be the first lap run out, will to be Damaris Ingerbottom, apart from Sean O'Brien, of course, who went into the pits. But tough there for Damaris. Now it's all about what he's going to be able to do and where he's going to be able to position his car if there is a caution, obviously on the stage break in about 14 lap time. We will have the first stage break caution here as well, but we could here, Rhea, almost have a nice little 4-car train breaking away from the pack behind them.
Yeah, touching back on Damaris Ingerbottom, what he might want to do, unfortunately, looks like that gap is building again, but it might have been a good idea to stay with Andrew Dyson and just try and push the car as far as it can go. That way he can make sure he's, lucky dog contender at the very least. Because now we have a couple of people who have gone into the pits, and at this point, he might not be the only contender for lucky dog. So he's not really gonna. It's gonna be tough for pretty much anybody behind at this stage, especially with the stage coming up soon. You don't want to be caught out with laps down at the moment, and they really just gotta hope that everybody else isn't planning on pitting during the stage break.
Yeah, I know. I'll be very surprised if people don't come in, to be honest. Jamie Knopf, Patrick Gitter, Matt Long, Derek Heitman. Then we've got a 1.5 second gap back to Delaney, to Alford, to Benefield, to Abreu and Palladino here. Adam Benefield with 6 wins under his name at the moment for this season's up 11 places, trying to make his gap close onto Nick Alford. For Benefield, it's been a good season. He's obviously leading the championship as well, which makes him obviously, a good driver. And I think that's one of the things that it can prevail here. He just looks like, by the looks of it, he's just had a bit of a bad qualifying and unfortunately just dropped it down a little bit, and now he's got the job of making his way up. He's pulled out a 10th over Nick Alford already. He's got Delaney 7 tenths up the road from there. There's nice little battles going on down with Ben Stevens, Cameron King, Danilo Coelho and Jordan Pearson, who's also got Randy Drumhiller behind him, and we've got the free car of Wayne Grass currently in front of him. 10 laps to go till that stage. You want to try and be in that top 10 to get some points on the board. Not always going to be easy when you're sitting down in 14th and 15th for the moment.
Yeah, definitely not. It's especially with the packs starting to form and the gaps between them. At this point, if you're in the top 10, especially if you're in Benefield's position, you might want to just kind of stay where you are, as hard as that is, because you don't want to. I mean, he does have some clear air, so don't. What is the word I'm looking for? Don't just resign yourself to that position, but maybe just try and conserve the car a little bit so you're not over driving and end up losing positions.
Definitely, you don't want to be doing that as well. Don't forget, obviously,
saying that he's already made up that gap.
Yeah, he's about nearly just about 1.3 second back. Seems a long while ago since Benefield's first win, of course, back on September 22nd at Texas Oval. Since then, he had a bit of a bad race after that, mind you, finishing down in 23rd at Bristol Speedway, and then obviously he's taken the win after that as well at Nashville. He's had it at the Gateway Oval. He's taken a win at Dover, Martinsville, Richmond, so he's well capable of doing this kind of racing. He's well capable of taking the victories. Just unfortunately with Benefield as an off day, 24th, 25th, 16 above. It's an off day for Benefield, but when he is on it, he does take that win and get himself within that top 15, which is always good for that one. Matt Long making his way here as well in 5th. Derek Heitman's just got past him. He's just about to give Heitman a nice little bump going into the corner. He backs away here. We're 7 away from the stage now. Now it's all about where you're going to put it, how many points you're going to go after at the stage. Are you going to go for them all? Are you going to go for none? Or are you just going to try and settle for, if you're in 6th place at the moment, like Delaney is currently as well, for the 5 points you're going to get from that one. Every point counts, Rhea, whether it be 5, 4, 3, 2 or 1. Something is better than nothing.
Absolutely, and as for points, I think Dyson's feeling a little comfortable right now. He's got about almost a 2-second gap, or pretty close to that 2-second mark between him and Gitter. So he's probably feeling quite comfortable as we're about to go into the caution, or the stage. Sorry, I think he's probably feeling pretty happy with his performance right now, especially with the gap he's built.
Yeah, exactly. 1.85 seconds here as well for a lone runner. We've obviously seen the lone runner of Damaris Ingerbottom is obviously not as quick. Got lapped very, very quickly. So, you know, for the fact that Dyson's opening up the gap, and so is Gitter opening up a gap as well. Knopf is now down in 3rd place with Heitman and Long behind him, and then a 2.5 second gap back to Delaney, Alford, Benefield, Palladino and Dicciani there just in that background. So for Andrew Dyson, he's looking like he could rock them 10 points already off the stage win here. So that would be a great opening for him and a big confidence boost early on there, Rhea.
Yeah, it would definitely be. If I was in his position, I would be ecstatic. It's just going to be a matter of, can he repeat it after the stage? And the way he's been driving tonight, I think he definitely has a really good shot at that. It's just with Patrick Gitter being right on his tail as we restart, is he going to be able to break that draft and continue to be a solo runner? Is he going to end up pulling along the rest of the pack and kind of having to defend and slow himself down?
Well, we're going to find out in about 3 laps time when the first stage of lap 45 comes out now. And we will find out what Dyson is able to do. It's going to be an interesting race down to the line for the third, 4th and 5th spot. Heitman is taking that at the moment, swapping places backwards and forwards. Heitman's all loose. He's had to back out. That's going to allow Knopf and Long to start opening up a little bit of a gap there. Heitman got a little bit slidey coming out the exit of 4. He's managed to gather the car back now and regather what he has done, but he's lost them 2 places here as well. 2 laps away from stage, and at the moment Dyson, Gitter, Knopf, Long, Heitman, Benefield, Palladino, Alford, Delaney and Dicciani will be the top 10 unless something dramatic happens, and then it might not be any of them. So we will find out very, very shortly, within the next probably about 1 minute and 8 seconds, based on the fact that they are doing 34-second lap times currently. Still swapping places down here, Benefield and Palladino and Delaney and Alford. Delaney back up to that high side as well. We've run it a little bit early on, got it a little bit left out, lost some positions, caught the positions back again, and is now running that high line once more is Delaney, with Dicciani bringing Dicciani along behind him here as well. Nick Alford in 10th place at the moment here, with Lucas Abreu right beside him as well, battling out for that final point as we're on to that lap 45 stage, which will and looks like being taken by the Australian Andrew Dyson from DPR Racing. Stellar job. Can't really say any more to him. Taking the stage win already.
Yeah, Patrick Gitter was starting to close that gap just a little bit. I wonder if Dyson was just kind of starting to relax a little bit, kind of collect yourself. We've talked about before, during these stage breaks, it's a good time to just kind of not totally relax, but just kind of recenter yourself and get used to how the car is going to handle after you've pitted, because pretty much everybody here is going to go for a pit under this caution as we go into the stage right now.
Yeah, it is. Your top 10 in the stage is Dyson, Gitter, Knopf, Long, Heitman, Palladino, Benefield, Dicciani, Delaney and Abreu. So they are the top 10 in the stage 1 here as well. So a great job from everybody who has got points on the board. Well done for all of them. More important for Anna Benefield. Gitter there as well. Digiani sneaking into the 8th place. He will get 3 points, in 8th with Dyson rapid up the 10. Pulled out that 7 gap he had over Digiani right at the beginning. So let's pick up on Andrew Dyson here. And we will try and have a chat with your stage 1 winner. And let's have, if it's still there, it is still out of track at the moment. Let's bring your stage 1 winner, Andrew Dyson, into the booth. Andrew, can you hear me?
Hey mate, how you going?
I'm not bad, man. How are you?
Very good. Not too bad after that. Surprised?
Yeah, I'll let you just get into the pits, mate. Get that car stopped.
Roger.
There you go, bud. Good. Yeah, that was close, wasn't it? Good job on the stage win, man. 10 points on the board already. That probably overturns the deficit that you have to Digiani going into this with that championship fight. Not a bad opening. Do you think you can repeat it?
I don't know, man. That was kind of weird. Like, I think everyone was just taking it really easy there. So I was surprised. Surprised I didn't get run over towards the end of the stage. But I'll take it anyway. See what happens the next one. Normally I take it easy in the first stage, and I don't really learn anything. So I decided I'd go flat out that time just to see what would happen. And see what the car would be like.
And how is the car?
Oh, it feels pretty good. I mean, it got loose at the end there, but I think everyone would have been struggling with the same thing.
Yeah, long setup car, is it? Long run car?
I don't really know. I think it depends how you drive it more than anything. So
that's always the way, mate, to be honest. It depends on how you drive it. If you're going to hurtle it round and tighten it up, then that's completely on your own head. What do you think your chances are here today, Andrew? You know, I'm not going to lie, you're looking strong, right? You're looking like Hulk Hogan battling away here with big muscles sticking out, doing an absolutely stellar job. You've muscled everyone out of that 10 points out of stage 1, open up like 1.5 seconds. You know, you're looking strong. Are you thinking within your head now after that first part, do you know what? I might actually have this. I can probably do this.
No, definitely not. I really think no one's really shown their hand there. So we'll see what happens, Ben. I mean, it's nice to be a Hulk Hogan for one stage and have the big handlebars and
take it.
All the rest of it, you know, the blonde locks. Yeah.
Hey, don't worry, mate. If you win the race, you can go off and rip your T-shirt off in the living room or something after this. Getting the big gun, getting the big Auntie guns out there, bud. But well done on your stage win, man. Let's see how you get on for this next part now. Next stage, 45 laps time and 90. Let's see how close you can get. But good job there, buddy. Well done on that one.
Thanks, man.
All right, let's drop him back up into his box there. Sorry about the analogy of Hulk Hogan, but you know, that's probably the first thing that ever popped into my head here as well. But great job from him. You know, he seems very kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of
modest.
Yeah, modest and nonchalant about it. Always like, yeah, I thought I was going to get run over. You know, I'm surprised and. You know, that's the thing, isn't it? When you have got a modest driver like that who clearly didn't expect to be up there, he clearly didn't expect to take the stage break, and he clearly didn't expect to do it by 1.3 seconds, right? Clearly that's what he didn't expect. But he's done well and has given himself a good shot here of taking the win after that first half.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of wonder if he's aware of how big of a gap he was able to build, because he was talking as if he didn't have it, or maybe people were just taking it really easy. But regardless, he was absolutely flying. He was squeezing as much as he could out of that car, and if he continues to give us a performance like that, I think he has a real shot at winning.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's only taken one win here this season. That was back at Charlotte Roval on October 6th as Andrew Dyson. So I believe that was his first and only win. So it's, you know, can he get his second? That's going to be the thing. I think it would be interesting if he can get his second win here as well. And obviously, I believe earlier on we read out Adam Benefield's stats. Let's get this back up and running, because I do need to make a correction on myself on that one. But it is going to be Dyson, it is going to be Gidder, and now we're going to be green for this second run now, all the way to lap 90 for stage 2. But let's see if Dyson can break away and can get that position back. But at the moment, it is Gidder out in front in that 21 Chevrolet there for racehippie.com. Go and check them out. I'm sure it is amazing. But let's see what Dyson can do and whether or not he can take the stage by the same thing. I think he's looking very strong. You know, I think he's just gone flat out, as he said in stage 1. Doesn't really learn a lot. Just went flat out. Done an absolutely stellar job, but he has got Matt Long right behind him here. So let's see what happens. Now, the correction I want to make on Adam Benefield's stat is actual first win. Sorry, coming much steady first this year back at Richmond. So a great job for Adam Benefield there. That was his first win of the season, so that's on me for that one. But back up and running. We're now settling into this second part of this race almost. It's almost like 4 quarters. You know, 45, 90, 135, 180, straight sprint to the end. That's how I would break up this race. But I'm not in the car.
It's actually pretty similar when you're in the car. You definitely want to break it up by stints and just kind of focus more on where you're at currently than just the end of the race. It's very, very good move from Knop there. I thought he was actually going to make the pass by just switching the line mid-corner, but just not enough speed coming out. He is trying to make a run for it here. It looks like he's riding that high line, so he might actually, he's pushing past Long just a little bit, but no, he just doesn't have the speed. I think right now the tires probably just aren't quite ready for something like that just yet.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with tyres as well, and we talk about it like it's just, you're going to go in, you're going to swap. You know, it's all about the 2 or the 4. Are you going to take the 2 left side tyres? Are you going to take the 4 tyres? What are you going to do? You know, you drive these cars, Ray. Yes, I know, before you will tell me that you don't drive them very often and you haven't driven them very long. I do understand that. But you've got a rough idea of what goes on in the car. You know, what are you looking at entire-wise here? Are you looking at taking the 2, or are you looking at taking the 4 as often as you can?
To be honest, for a track like this, I personally would probably just play it safe and take the 4. Mainly because we do have a total of 200 laps, so it's going to be really helpful to have that option of different strategies towards the later stages of, I don't have 2 completely worn tires on my left side, so I could push harder if I need to, or you know, any kind of tactic like that. It's just going to open you up to having more options. And if it was a shorter race, I personally would definitely consider it, but at a longer race, I would probably take the 4, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's going to be probably, I'd be surprised if that wasn't the consensus. But as you say, it depends on what the tyre wear is like, of course. You know, how is it going to be dragging along, and what's the situation with it, and whether or not it's going to be down that you're going to need 4, or if you're going to need 2, or however you've driven the car. It's like Andrew said, you know, it's how they can drive the car is dependent on what the situation is with the car. I think some people can sit back and overestimate and overcomplicate the situation as well while you're driving these. You know, you can sit back and be like, oh, it's not doing this, it's not doing that, it's not doing this, it's not doing that. And at the end of the day, it might not be. You know, it might not be doing that. But you've got to try and make it do that. As we see Bruno Mello getting nice and close with Nick Alford on your screen there as well. Jordan Pearson underneath him once more in that 28 Siemens liveried machine here So this is getting all very tight and very close. And again, Damaris Hinkerbottom dropping off the back. He's just not showing the pace here at the moment to stay with that pack, and just unfortunately keeps dropping back. Dyson, Knopf and Gitter are your front three, with Long and Heitman tucked up right behind him in fifth there as well. So it's a nice little close racing at the front of the pack area. Let's see how this turns out as we start that run up to lap 90.
Yeah, they're all filing back into a line right as it comes out. There's not too much. Sorry, I'm just kind of trying to see what Knopf is doing up on the outside, see if he's going to make that pass. He does actually pull it off. There's not too much room on the straight to really make a run, because you really want to be on that out, like you really have to get to the outside to make the corner here. I mentioned it before, you do generally have to brake just a little bit to rotate that car, so being on the inside going into the corner, some tracks you can pull it off and just kind of squeeze your way by, but here it's definitely a lot riskier, so seeing them file in is definitely an interesting thing to watch from cockpit view, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You see behind as well, there's a long single line of drivers just off in the distance. You see it more accurately as you come into the corners. You can see the likes of Benefield 1.1 seconds back here. So for Adam Benefield is again dropped 1.1 seconds. So let's see how he does here as well. But it's going to be a good start so far. It's been some great racing overall at the moment. Nice and tidy here as well, with no forced cautions. So the 1005 palm trees here at Miami will be very, very happy about now.
1,000, is that an official count? Did you find that online somewhere?
Yes, I did. It's on their official website. 1005 palm trees of 15 different varieties.
I can't imagine how they keep track of that instead of just planting a bunch of palm trees. I also didn't know there were different variety of palm trees, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, there's loads. There's 1,005 apparently, 1,005 palm trees, so 15 different. Look, at the end of the day, some stats have got to be better than no stats, right? I think at the end of the day, if you've learned that there's 1,005 palm trees at Homestead, Miami, you're going to be happy. You know, cool. You go to bed and learn something new at the same time here on the JPB YouTube channel. Eli Sazak with Sean O'Brien all the way down in 24th here as well, and Black Bullet Racing Nick Shell in that 05 car there on your screen. Your leaders are coming up at the bottom of your screen at the moment, so you can have a quick look and see where your favourite driver is. And Alford at the moment is in that mix with Coelho, with Kim, with Abreu and Palladino. So it's getting very tight in that mid-pack at the moment from this Derek Heitman gap that they've got up at the front. Heitman here in this pack of 5 cars, making a break as best they possibly can, but the gap is that is close. That is close. Heitman there in at 24th, over the 84 there as well. Jamie Knopf just pushing him along now. It's Dyson's turn to run that outside line as well. It's like that breakaway pack of the peloton in the France cycling there as well, the Tour de France. Oh, that was very, very close. 3 wide at certain points. Didn't like the look of that one.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be door to door. There was going to be a little bit of bumping, but they kept it quite clean. However, that fighting has given everybody else the chance to catch up. Adam Benefield now is only less than 0.3 of a second behind. He's closed that gap quite quickly and put himself back in contention, which is going to be interesting because it's just going to cause more fighting and slow down more of the pack. So it'll be interesting to see if, now that Gitter and Dyson are up in first and second, can they make that break for it again? It looks like Dyson's going around on the high line just to try and maybe pass Gitter. At this point, I think he is going to go past.
Got it.
I think the play here might have just been to be patient, stay behind Gitter, and give him that little push just to get away from the inevitable infighting that's about to start happening.
Yeah, definitely. Dyson there did come off the high line out of turn 2. He then got the run, swapped back to the inside line going into turn 3. Took the lead away from Gitter. Gitter's going to almost look like he's going to try and do the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if he does here. Here's Patrick Gitter going to do it again. There it is. There's that slingshot motion around turn 2. And Dyson is now nestled back into that second place. You can see there's only 5 seconds all the way down to Cameron King from that Fine Line Motorsports Ford here, sitting down in 20th place. 5 seconds from first to 20th. Man, if there is an accident anywhere in that mid-pack, there is a lot of cars who could end up being involved with that as well. So they've got to be a little bit careful here from 9th down to 20th here with Pedro Palladino, because otherwise, I'm not going to lie there, Rhea, if it goes off now, it's going to go off big style.
Yeah, you actually had me chuckling a little bit because I was thinking the exact same thing as you said it, that if there's a crash, it's probably going to be the big one. I mentioned earlier, crash avoidance is a big part of NASCAR, but when you're pack racing like this, when everybody's so bundled up, it happens so quickly. It's going to be pretty hard to avoid, and I wouldn't be surprised that if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised to see a decent amount of cars in the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's pray that it doesn't. They've done well so far. 20 laps now until the next break. Adam Benefield is almost sitting in that, I don't want to say no man's land for NASCAR, because he's not too far back from Heitman, but he's opened up the gap to Knopf, who has slowly started getting dropped out of this pack, who's got Delaney, Jonathan Delaney right behind him. So let's see what we can do for Delaney. Is he going to be able to make the way through here as well? The pro driver, nearly 7Ks, John Delaney, and doing an absolute stellar job, sitting in 7th, only down 3. Benefield, however, up 14 places in the first 71 laps here. You know, there's no end to the mountain for Adam Benefield at the moment. He's now onto that front pack. He could take the lead of this race and take the win. He's got a lot of pace here as Benefield, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did take that victory.
Yeah, he absolutely does. I think you're right. Earlier, he may have just had a bad qualifying. Maybe he tapped the wall slightly. Just, not used to the cold tires, because under qualifying, you do have the new sets of tires. They're very different to how you've been practicing. So it may have just been a rough qualifying. But as I said earlier, we still have over 100 laps. It's going to be hard to call it right now, especially with so much left in this race. And I don't think anybody's taken more than one set of tires. Looks like we have had Sean O'Brien in the pits twice, but it was on lap 48. So I wonder if maybe he just had a little bit of aero damage that he wanted fixed before going back out on track. I'm not sure what that was, but yeah, everybody still has at least 3 full sets of tires. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody starts differentiating here, as this whole pack from Gitter all the way down to Benefield is actually starting to pull out a bigger gap. It looks like it's about 1.5 seconds, 1.2 seconds or so.
Yeah, it is at the moment. Delaney, Knopf, Dicciani have got a 1.3 second gap over Palladino, who's bringing literally about 7 or 8 drivers with him here. Jordan Patterson all the way down there, and then that gap to Randy Drumiller, who's then bringing the next pack. It's almost like you can see on your screens, we've got kind of 4 packs happening now. The front guys of Gitter, Dyson, Long, Benefield, and Heitman. Then you've got the pack of Delaney, Knopf, and Dicciani, and then Palladino, Abreu, Kib, Coelho, Alford, Grass, Mello, and then it goes on again there as well, all the way through that field. So there are packs developing, but it is whether or not Gitter and Dyson are gonna get away again. I think personally, I would do, if I was these two, I would do exactly the same as what they did in the first one. Just go out there, work together, open up the pack, break away from Long, Benefield, and Heitman if you're able to, and just work together, because clearly whatever they did in the first one worked in the first one. They just don't, and the saying goes, if you're my mother, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. normally generally when she's screaming at me dad because he's done something wrong or whatever, but, you know, he's touched something of, you've touched my buttons on my washing machine or something, you know what I mean? You never quite know what it's going to be, to be honest, what my dad's been up to in the tinkering in the background. But at the end of the day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And for Dyson and Gidder, it wasn't broke. So don't try and fix it.
Yeah, I think right now Long has done a really good job of just keeping with both Gidder and Dyson. However, he has been, I don't want to say struggling because it's not really the right word, but for lack of a better word, he has been struggling just a little bit to keep up with that pack. I have noticed he's run the high line a couple of times, whereas Dyson has been running that low line, which I've mentioned earlier, is slower, and he's still managing to keep that same gap and not really give too much time back. However, Benefield making the pass right there on Long, he's been running a really great race, and I wouldn't be surprised if once he catches Dyson, maybe starts giving him a bit of a bump and starts to make that breakaway. Maybe we have a pack of 3 instead of 2 like we saw earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's only 12 laps to go now before we get into stage 2. Don't forget, Dyson is already plus 10 for the day here. Patrick Gidder is in that second place, is already plus 9. So far at the moment, these guys have got some nice little points on the board early. Who's going to get it in this second stage? Well, we're going to find out in about 11 laps time. That's about 4.5 minutes of this run before we can get up to stage 9, up to lap 90 for that second stage break. Derek Heitman still hanging on to the back of Long as well. We have got Sean O'Brien. You are right. He did take 2. He has taken 2 pit stops. One of them was at the stage, and one was a little bit earlier on. I believe there might have been a slight little contact with the wall for Sean O'Brien. He may have had a little bit of damage to go in and get fixed, because I believe it was round about the mid-20 mark when he may have had that first pit stop. So, you know, that's probably why he's got 2 on the board here at the moment, Rhea.
Yeah, I would imagine he probably hasn't taken 2 sets of tires. It must have been some kind of aero damage that he had noticed was losing him time. And if you can get in the pits and get back out before getting lapped, it's definitely worth it. You can, I mean, if you get lapped, it's not the end of the world. You can try and stick with the leaders and not fall too far behind. And then, of course, you know, you're a contender for Lucky Dog and you can pass. We did see earlier that a lot of people seem to, I think there were a couple more people lapped down. I could just be wrong about that, but I think we had more than just Damaris Hickenbottom lapped down.
I believe there was 3, Benjamin Stevens and Randy Belk. I've got a funny feeling we've lost Randy Belk. Damaris is the last runner. Not entirely sure what happened to Randy. I didn't see anything pop up on the board to say that he's done anything drastic. No, I literally cannot see anything there, so I'm not entirely sure on that one what happened to Randy Belk, of course, but I'm sure we might be able to find out as Dyson and Gidder do trade that league plots. And watch out, guys, because here comes the 83 of Adam Benefield. Absolutely doing a stellar job, up 16 places, qualified down in 19th. His championship rival Jason Taylor sitting all the way down in 17th, not really made the gains that we thought he might have made here as well, with 7 to go in until the end of stage 2. This could be a freeway run for that stage point break at the end of this.
Yeah, absolutely, and it did. My prediction is starting to happen. Gidder, Dyson, and Benefield are starting to pull away a little more and more each lap from Heitman, and it's definitely become a 3-car race for the stage here. It'd be interesting to see if I don't think Benefield is going to end up being at the back of this little this pack right here, if I'm totally honest, but it would be interesting to see how he reacts coming off of the stage. As I say that, he passes Gidder right then, so of course, again, I'm the best at predictions. I'm always right.
Give over, you Charlie, as if you ever are always completely right. I've got proof. I've got proof. I've got, you know, some information that proves that
Is your proof the championship that I'm winning?
Oh, Pip Pop. You're gonna win a bag of curly whirlies at the end of it or whatever, but that's it. Look, it's just bragging rights, and your bragging rights over Zach. That's all it is at the moment here. Definitely as well. Andrew Dyson's made that break now. He's made that break again on 85. Man,
from Benefield as well, and he was looking really good.
Benefield was looking strong. This kind of mid to upper line coming out of 2 here. You can see almost that slingshot motion, and it just provides so much more speed for them, and Dyson makes great use of that. And that's the thing here. He's not slack about it. He's got that low entry, then he starts coming up. Boom! Slingshot gone. He's carrying so much speed through the corners. He's just opened up nearly 8 tenths within the space of about 2 laps here over Adam Benefield, who's no slouch. He's up 17 places. So for Adam Benefield, he must be sitting there wondering, okay, what has he just done? What has Dyson just done to be able to pull out nearly a second on me since lap 85?
It's possible. I think it's a combination of Benefield he had to do quite the run here for this stint to make it back up to second place.
Yeah.
So he may have run his tires a little hard. He may currently just be settling for second place. But I think Dyson has also severely underestimated himself. I think he is a lot faster than he thinks he is, and I'm really interested to see how he'll be doing at the end of the race. I think he has a real shot at winning this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do thoroughly agree with you there as well. I think, he's... If he can wrap up another stage, that's 20 points he's gained already. And, if he can do that and take the win, it's like almost taking that triple crown here, isn't it? Within this race, you've got stage 1 winner, Andrew Dyson. Stage 2 winner, Andrew Dyson. Race winner, Andrew Dyson. He's like wrapped up the treble in one race, and he's done it. He's going to do it again. He's opened up that 1 second gap. Again, he has literally bolted. He's been like a racehorse coming down the final furlong, and he's gone, and he's left them. And he's done it over the current championship leader. So, for me, fair play. Fair play for the Australian from Melbourne there as well. A stellar job from him. Well done. I can't see if he can carry on like he is now. I can't see anybody getting near him. But we do have a yellow flag. It is the first one, Rain Grass here, with Randy Drumhill. Oh. Ouch, 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 ouch. And
there it is. As we said earlier, they're all so close that one little thing happens and a couple of people end up getting swept up into it very quickly.
Yeah, the thing is as well, probably going to guess that will be a stage on that, because of the fact that obviously happened on the stage lap. So
Benjamin Stevens had to tow back the car. I wonder if he ended up getting damage to the drive shaft or something, and maybe just not able to drive it back.
Wow.
What happened there?
He just looks like he starts driving and then nothing.
I wonder if he had maybe a disconnect of some kind. It looks like he pulls to the left first. Maybe the wheel just kind of disconnected, and as it did so, it pulled itself left. So hopefully that's not the case. It looks like he had to be towed back, which is going to hurt. I hope he's still in the race.
Well, we'll find out after this one as well. Sean O'Brien has jumped to the pits. Delaney's entered the pit lane. Sean O'Brien is there as well, so good job. But that was, unfortunately, it's caution number 2 here, which was obviously Grass and Drumhill causing that one. I think from an analogy point of view, if you have a look back at it, well, we need to go just a little bit further back than that, really. There comes Drumhill on the inside. Grass tries to throw the block, and then to be honest, I think Drummiller's got too much of an overrun there of speed, and then he comes down into Stevens.
Yeah, he just kind of ran him over.
Yeah, so that's probably not helped Ben Stevens there either. So I'm going to put it down. Stage 2 winner, I still believe it will be Dyson. I don't think we're going to have another stage run. So I believe it will be Dyson on that one that will take that stage victory. So great job again. I believe 20 points on the board from him. So well done to Andrew Dyson on lap stage number 2. So now we've got that 100 plus lap run to the end, Ria. This is going to make it very interesting.
Definitely. It's very possible we start seeing some green flag pit stops. I think we might see a couple of different drivers end up on different pit strategies. Right now, with 100 laps to go, your tire strategy is really going to come into play for this stint. Running that high line versus that low line, the front runners are probably going to want to make that run for it, especially you Dyson, Benefield, and Gitter. They were really hauling, so if they can make form another gap like that, they can definitely gain an advantage and just kind of run those tires out a little bit faster, maybe take care of some of the later sets. But it'll be interesting to see how people are divided, or if we end up just having another caution and end up with people on very similar pit strategies, because we've seen it before. Cautions, you read cautions, people get a little complacent with the way their car runs, and then they're just not expecting it to not expecting it to act differently, but I think it's more of a shock as to how different it does react, and it's something hard to get used to, because you can only practice cold tire running so much before the tires end up heating up.
Fair point. Fair point on that one. You know what I mean? Would you then just run until that you are at that point? No, that's the question. How much running of the same lap over and over and over again would you do before you've decided that you're happy with the car? And I think that's always going to be a difficult scenario altogether, is how long do you give it on the car? You know, how long would you give it? That's the thing. How long would you run it for? So, you know, let's see what happens here as well, as we are going to be back up and running very, very shortly. Pace car laps off. Now we're going to go for that straight sprint up to that 100 laps. Dyson is going to be leading us away. Barney's going to be waving. His right hand is out. He is off and running and waving practically, and it is green, green, green here as well, as these guys go storming in to turn 1. An absolute stellar job from everybody so far. Can Damaris Hinkerbottom stay with the pack this time? Is he carrying the pace? Is he carrying an issue, is Damaris? Because he did lose a lot of time early on, and he did drop back very, very quickly. But these guys are doing a stellar job so far, as they're coming out the exit of 4 now and back over that line, ready to go. 96, lap 96, 104 left on the clock. So far, so good, to be fair. There's only been one actual main caution incident, and that was back literally on the stage break, which was wrapped up by Dyson as well. 20 points on the board. Dyson for the Triple Crown, do you think? Can he take that victory?
I've mentioned it before. I think he has a real shot at it. I think with Benefield right behind him, we've heard that Dyson isn't... He doesn't really think people are pushing. I think he's just... I don't want to say not confident enough, but I think he underestimates himself. So I wonder if having Gitter and Benefield back there now might just kind of rattle him a bit. It doesn't seem to be, because right now he's already starting to build that gap. Not amazing as we've seen before, but you have to remember now that Gitter, Heitman, and Benefield are all right there, just giving each other that push down the straight as Dyson tries to pull away.
I think the thing is for Dyson is we can probably answer his question on whether or not his car is suited to a better long run than it is a short run, because towards the end of the runs he just seems to get quicker and quicker and quicker. So, you know, maybe the setup is basically being able to maintain it, and it's basically being able to help him out. You know, for Justin Taylor, he's up 12 as well. Don't forget for Taylor, he's sitting in second in that championship in front of Gitter, Heitman, Grass, Diciani, Dyson, Marty. You know, so for Jason Taylor, it's important that he starts trying to make his way up, get on and at least trying to catch up with Adam Benefiel here to give himself a hope of being able to retain the championship. And that's the thing he's got to be trying to do. That's what I would be looking to do if I was Jason Taylor here. Benefiel would be my main target, I think. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's probably just, at the moment, it looks like he's just kind of stuck in that pack, trying not to push too hard and wear out his tires. Maybe stuck isn't the right word, more just playing it safe. As I say that, he runs the high line, so proving me wrong. My all-knowing prediction powers.
Well, your all-knowing prediction powers have gone completely out the window, so there you go. You know what I mean? But he has got Lucas Abreu for company, Bruno Mello, Ben Tracy, and Danny Coelho here as well. So great four-car Brazilian contingency in this Homestead Miami race. Around 29 here as well from Homestead. We go on to Martinsville next week, and then Phoenix the week after. So let's see what happens with these, seeing where we're at by next week in Martinsville. I think Martinsville is going to be an could turn out to be a classic. I think Martinsville as a race circuit is that short track kind of, you know, and I think it's for that one. I think it's going to be a very interesting evening of racing at Martinsville.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the shorter tracks, maybe prepare to see a few more cautions, just because it is tighter racing. There's a lot more braking. People have the chance to underbrake and try to make more risky moves. So I think it'll definitely be really fun to watch. So if anybody's here enjoying this one, the people that end up watching this and enjoying this would definitely check out the next one, because it's going to be great.
Yeah, it is at the moment. Heitman's taking up the lead of the race with Gitter and Dyson. They've opened up 1.2 over Benefiel, who's bringing along Locke, who's along Diciani, Knopf. Knopf's gone down 6 places here as well, and sitting in 7th at the moment for Knopf. Don't forget, he was on pole at one point there, chasing down Diciani in front of him. Then you got the likes of Bruno Mello through that. He's got a pack of cars behind him as well. You can see there Brian Messer all the way down at the back, even battling away with Eli Sazak from Ascent Racing in that Camry. So there's not really I don't want to say the whole field, there's not really a broken away pack, but there are cars close together all the way through the field. You know, that's the thing, isn't it, here at the moment? I can throw a dart at my screen and pick a car, and he'll have somebody around him. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because I'll break my screen, but you get the rough idea of what I'm going on about. They're all very, very close together here at the moment.
Yeah, they are. They've actually been... It's worth pointing out that, yes, we did just have a caution, but they've been really clean. Everybody's been very consistent. You can tell how much time they put into this, how well they know the cars, is more what I'm trying to get at. You had mentioned something before about just how well the front runners have been doing, and I think it just comes down to the time you spend in the car. You end up learning how that car handles pretty much anywhere. The more you're in it, the more you know how it's going to react at a track you may not even have been to all that much.
Yeah, but I don't know if these guys wouldn't have kind of wouldn't have put the practice in. You know, the 100% of course series has a great reputation of producing drivers who are going on to pros like Delaney as well. So I very much doubt that these drivers have not gone out and practiced. You know, I think for if we had to differentiate series, I think this is one of them, you know, top running NASCAR series who, you know, their effort in every single time. I could probably throw and ask a driver and see how many laps practice they've done. Some might come out and say none, but one of the rules is that they are practiced and ready for the race. So I can guarantee there's going to be some there. As I said, as NASCAR series go, this is kind of the pinnacle of one here, bar obviously the, you know, the Coca-Cola 600, whatever else that you know, you get invited into, and whatever top class events you do get invited into. But I think that's the thing, that, you know, when you're producing John Delaney's, when you're producing other people around that, unfortunately it does look like we may have just lost Jonathan Delaney. We have at the moment, and Sean O'Brien, Wayne Grass here as well. So unfortunately we may have just lost Delaney, and there's no real reason I could possibly think of that John Delaney would have gone. Wayne Grass has entered into the pits as well and never come back out.
Yeah, I wonder if people are just having a rough time with the track itself. We did mention earlier it's very hot. I pointed out a couple of times that the high line does kind of wear down your tires. I wonder if it's just a combination of that, and maybe it's just, you know, they do run, I mean, it is a Friday night, so most people don't have work tomorrow, but they do run pretty late at night. So I wonder if it's just a combination of things kind of getting to people, and maybe they just need a break for the night, or maybe technical difficulties. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did notice that Wayne Grass went in earlier and didn't come back out. I was a little disappointed by that. I was not in him, just, you know, the more cars on track, the more exciting it is.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, but don't forget, obviously some of these will run the series tomorrow, you know, and that's the thing. If they're running a double series, they might use this and sit back and think, well, actually, you know, I've got my setup dialed in, I don't really need to worry about it anymore, so I'm going to go and put my feet up with me slippers on, you know what I mean, and get me blanket over my knees. Maybe that's just me, I don't know, but you know, for these guys, that's the thing, isn't it? There's some that are running tomorrow, and I think at the end of the day, if they've run it for a certain period of time and they have got everything dialed in, ready to go, Matt Ticciani, I'm sure, will be another one who will be on there tomorrow as well. So I think for them to turn around and say, right, I've got to the 100 laps, I know how my car's going to run, we've done the long runs here, we haven't really had many cautions to try and break it up to see if we can get a short run. I don't think I need to worry about staying in, and as crude as that may sound, I think that could be a couple of the reasons why we have lost certain drivers early on. We still haven't lost Damaris, which is great. We still haven't lost Sazak or Shell. They're fighting it out with Brian Messer at the back end of the field here, just on the lead lap. As long as they're hanging on to the pack, they will always be on that lead lap there as well. So a great job from them. Cameron King, Fine Line Motorsports, Ben Tracy, Danny Coelho, and Pedro Palladino in this mid-pack at the moment. 23 cars still running. The last one running is, of course, Damaris Hinkenbottom at the bottom of on your track map right hand side. He's just going on to that backstretch now. So great racing overall area, and now we're in the last bit. This is where we're now playing chess, right? This is the make sure the car is positioned where you need it to be.
Yeah, I think we're at that stage where, as you like to say, I think people are just kind of ticking off the laps, just kind of keeping their car under control, making sure it doesn't end up, you know, getting loose and then into a wall. You don't want to, definitely don't want to take too much damage here. But I think people are just kind of settling in, thinking about when they're going to pit, what kind of strategy they're going to be taking, and just trying to stick to the car in front. There's no stage points anymore, so patience here isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I wouldn't be panicking, to be honest. I really wouldn't. I think at the end of the day that there'd be no need there's really is no need to go out and start making crazy moves, crazy blocks, you know, for the likes of Tracy and Mello down in this mid-pack and Jason Taylor, who's obviously sitting second at the moment. There's definitely no reason for him to go out and make the crazy, silly dives and silly moves that could just end up putting him in danger. I think they've just got to make it work together, try and stay within that pack. I think the pack, the racing mentality is to be on that pack. You've seen it with Damara Singhbottom. Once you lose the pack, see you later. You know, stay with the pack. And I think from Jason Taylor, he's just got to make sure he's in that pack. He's in with somebody somewhere on the race circuit, because otherwise could end up back at the end of the pack.
Yeah, he is a little bit further away than he might like to be from the car in front, but if I were in his position, I wouldn't really be worrying about it too much, because they are all battling up there in front of him, and he does have cars behind him to help him on the straightaways. So it's not, I don't want to say a good time to take it easy, because you never really take it easy, especially when, you know, you're this long into a race, you start feeling the physical effects. But it's more definitely a time where you just kind of keep an eye on the laps, see how the cars around you are handling, if anybody else is having any problems, see if you can capitalize on any issues that they have. But for the most part, just kind of stay patient, stay calm, and make sure you're not involved in any potential yellow flags.
Stay out of trouble.
Exactly.
Stay out of trouble. Get these laps ticked off now. We're in that Sunday dinner stage as well, and if anybody doesn't know what that is, if you're a F1 fan, you will know what it is as well. You watch the beginning of the race, eat your Sunday dinner while that's going on, and then from lap 15 right the way through to generally lap about 45, 50, depending on how long the race is, you have a sleep. And then you wake up at the end of the race and watch the last 10 laps. That's what I mean by the Sunday dinner stage at the moment, because we kind of are in that stage. People are just not making the moves at the moment. They are just ticking off the laps. They're ticking off the bits that they're trying to do, staying out of trouble, getting the car, sitting in their head thinking, I need to be in so-and-so position going into the last 25. So they're going to be working on trying to get their cars in that position at the moment. But one of the things I would be working on, not the fact that I've got Adam Benefield up 17 places in second place, it's the fact that I've got the Australian with that double stage win running out in front at the moment, and he's opening the gap again here once more for Dyson. So if they're not careful, they could end up losing Dyson altogether. So Benefield, get along, and Heitman got to stay up together, because otherwise you give Dyson an inch. This Australian ain't afraid to take a mile. You know, he swims with sharks. You know, he's Hulk Hogan. He goes and wrestles sharks at Bombay Beach. I don't know if that's true. Sounds good. But for Dyson, he ain't afraid to go out and run it, is he, here? And that's the thing. He's done it on the first two stages. I think, to be honest, he has looked unbelievably unstoppable. And I wouldn't be surprised if he just runs away with it now. Yeah,
if I had to use a word to describe him tonight, it would be, and I've been thinking about it for a while, it would be consistent. I think he's found a line that works for him, and he's been hitting it almost every time, and it just, you can see how well that's been helping him. He's been pulling a gap every time he gets out in front. He starts to build that gap, and he has the likes of Gitter, Benefield, Long right behind him. They're not slow. We've been seeing them throughout the race, especially Benefield. He's up, 17 positions already, so it's definitely not that the people behind him are slow and he's just taking it easy. He's just been very consistent, found a great line, and has total control over that car.
Yeah, well, that's the thing here. At the end of the day, it does have complete control of the car, and one, I think, overall has been an absolute stellar job, and I'm impressed. I really am with Dyson here as well. If anybody's going against Dyson tomorrow night in the 100 Series, well, good luck with that one, because you're going to have to stop that Australian here as well. Didjiani Heitman further down in 5th and 6th place. currently at the moment. Heitman is another man with 2 wins on the board for him. Digiani has not got any wins, but he has got 8 top 5s and 15 top 10s. So overall for Digiani, a great job for him. Heitman currently at the moment, of course, won last time out at Las Vegas. So a great job there as well. And obviously his first win come back in July 21st at Pocono. So for Heitman, Pocono, Las Vegas, long way apart from wins. Can he make it 2 in a row though? Well, I think we are only going to see over the next 75 laps here from Derek Heitman whether or not he's going to be able to take that victory. I really do not know. I am not going to lie. I think the fact that Dyson's almost got a second gap, I'm finding it hard to get anyone, put anybody past Dyson at the moment. Massa and Mobley having a battle towards the back end of the field in 21st and 22nd. Massa from the Fine Line Motorsports in that 53 Ford there, and Mobley at the top part of the circuit in that 77 Chevy. So always somebody to run with here as well if you want to get yourselves involved. Links down in the Discord below. You will obviously come into the Div 2 Session Championship first. Before that, you prove yourself, but make sure you're clean, make sure you're not crashing everybody out and causing drama there as well before you go into the main Cup Series, which is tomorrow night. So tune in for that one as well. That will be over at FreeWide TV with our very own Carlos and his team there. So tune in for that one and keep an eye out over on FreeWide TV here as well. So great job from Carlos and his team, doing an absolute smashing job producing their Cup Series. So keep an eye on that one, guys, as well. Overall, nice clean racing, good stellar job from these drivers. They can all be proud of themselves so far at the moment.
Absolutely. 128 laps in, we've had one actual caution that wasn't the stage breaks, so definitely something that, I mean, you said before, everybody has to come through Div 2 to make sure that they're clean, not crashing everybody out. But even still, over, I was going to say 200, but we are 129 laps in, not 200 laps in. Only having, I was a little afraid that there might have been a bit of a not squared up bump there, but no, I was wrong. But yeah, over 129 laps, only having a single incident is great for any league, even one with people as high level as this league.
I think that's the thing. I did actually make a mistake on that YouTube link. They have actually moved it under the 100 Cup Series link there as well for tomorrow night. So you can tune in there if you are watching as well. You can go and have a look at the 100 Cup Series link that will over there. It is in association with FreeWide TV, so I was 50% right, but you can go and have a look and tune in for that one for tomorrow night's Cup Series. But now it's that last 70 run. It's that spicy chess game. It's that, do I go for your king? Do I take your queen? Am I just still battling with the pawns? Well, let's see how everyone plays it. At the moment, though, Andrew Dyson is not only taking your king, he's taking your queen, he's taking your pawns, he's put you in checkmate. He's off down the pub getting a nice cold beer and having a kangaroo on the barbie. And for him, he is 1.35 seconds out in front. Man, he has proven his worth here to this evening, that he will be a force tomorrow.
Absolutely. I would be terrified on the track with him right now, but that's also, I'm me, and these guys are much better than me, shall we say.
Yeah, me as well. Don't just do it as if you're the only one. You know what I mean? I would love to tell you what my rating is in ovals. I can tell you now, I'm Group C in oval, so I've been out on track a few times, and I have a 713 I rating.
I don't I don't know what the average is. I do know that when I graduated from rookies, I had 13, and I'm currently sitting at 12. But I am D class, so I don't think anybody in this lobby is
No, they're all A's.
as low as we are.
No, definitely not. Brian Masso's probably about the lowest on the 1.7. The thing is, as well, it's really hard when you get into that low IR stage because, you know, have you tried doing an official with a 744 pack of cars? It's horrendous.
Would you like to know what's worse? Worse is being in rookies with 700 because you don't see it, but you can, now that they tell you before the race strength of field, you can tell kind of where you're sitting at. So being in rookies with about a 700 is
horrendous.
the worst thing in iRacing.
I fully agree with you. The thing I did find as well is when I did drive often, and I used to drive probably every night, to be honest, and I got up to nearly 2K, and I found the standard of driving actually worse between that 2.5 and 1.8k range than it was down at the 1500 range, partly because at the 1500 range you're trying to gain IR and SR and you're trying to do it cleanly. When you get to 18 to 2.5, you're like, oh, I've done it now, I'm the king, I'm Verstappen, and you know the old saying of stay away from the cars with the Red Bull liveries. Well, that I've seen that. I physically have seen that, and that physically is true. And for Digiani, it's physically going to be true that he's going to go up the inside of Matt Long here as well. Matt up 2 places, Digiani up 13, and then Adam Benefield down in 5th at the moment, up 14 places. You know, that's the thing. That saying of stay away from the people with the Red Bull liveries is completely true. And any series with a car with a Red Bull livery, you're always going to find that is ended up in some form of hassle or gets reported at some point during that race, because I don't know what it is. It must be the mentality that as soon as you stick on a Red Bull livery, you're like a superhero. You know, I'm Max. They're paying me nothing, but I'm still Verstappen.
I think the mentality is if I win, that I'm good. But that isn't necessarily true. You can come in 10th place out of like 15 people and still be a good driver. It especially rings true here. Everybody in this league is a good driver, and just because they're, you know, lower in the pack or dropping off of the pack doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. It's just you can be a good driver and not have a great position every race. Because being a good driver is, you know, knowing your car, knowing how to avoid accidents and also not cause them, which I think it's the livery itself. The second anybody puts that Red Bull livery on, if I cause an accident but I don't get my race ruined, what does it matter?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? That too many people, it's never one or the other. It's never IR, SR. You're either concentrating on IR, but you end up losing SR, or you're concentrating on SR and then you're losing IR because you're taking it too slow. You know, good morning, Tam Weston. I really do not envy you being up this time in the morning. Your job is crazy. He's a lorry driver, big lorry delivery man.
Important job.
Yeah, gets up stupidly early at stupid times of the week, and then generally rings me up, or I wake up to missed calls from Tom Weston and says, "Are you up, mate?" "No, mate, I'm not, because I'm still up at 5 in the morning." You know what I mean? So, there we go. Lucas and Brew, Heitman and Gibb. Now we're running into that line. Oh, Brew's just going to put it in the wall. I really hope he was not turning at that point. His steering seems pretty good, but for Lucas and Brew, it must have been a scary moment. Went straight into the wall there, drifted out high. It's going to be that green flag pit stops, I think. We've got to be looking once more here on that one, Ria. We've got to be looking at the green flag pit stops. Surely they're not. I think the way they're running, the way they're spread out, how clean they've been, I cannot see another caution in this race. It's got to be all down on these pit stops.
Yeah, I wonder if right now maybe people are just waiting for somebody to pull the trigger, and if you're Dyson right now, I'm not sure that you're even thinking about it with the gap that he has and just continuing to pull. I'm not sure that you're really thinking like I'm gonna pit in a couple of laps. Maybe you're just like, let's see how far these tires can take me.
Yeah.
And then for Benefield, I wonder if we've seen him pull through the pack, and he's running down in 4th right now. I wonder if he's more just conserving his tires and waiting for somebody to pull the trigger so he can just immediately launch his car back up to the speeds that he was hitting before. I wonder if he's just waiting for maybe Dyson or Gitter to pull the trigger so that way he can do the what is essentially an overcut.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we will find out, I'm sure, as well. This is a late start today, says Tom Weston. Well, good morning to you. Please don't ring me until at least after 11 o'clock. All right? I'm not going to lie. Don't wake me up before then. My phone will be on silent. So, yeah, don't wake me up before then, dear sir, as we're going into the last 57 laps of what has been a very, very clean race so far. And it's been, yeah, incredible that they have kept it so clean this late on.
Definitely. And I mentioned a little earlier, Dyson is pulling ahead even further. He's broken almost up to a 3-second gap on Gitter. Can't imagine how his tires are right now. I would think by now you would start to see some wear, but he has kept it under control so well that it's hard to see if his car is actually sliding out at all. It doesn't seem to be, but I wonder if he's just compensating.
That's the thing, isn't it? You know, maybe we'll just have to see. But for Dyson at the moment, 3.27 seconds.
Yeah, and that gap is starting to grow. So I wonder if Gitter's starting to have trouble with his tires. And I think people might be, again, as I said earlier, people might just be waiting for somebody to pull the trigger. We actually have just had somebody pull the trigger. Nick Scheil is in.
Yeah, Nick
Scheil. He's
Scheil.
running down to 20th. Yeah, Nick Scheil is in 20th right now, but he is the first one to pull the trigger. So clearly the tires are starting to wear, at least for the back runners. But you would expect that if the people in the back are struggling, the people in the front are definitely struggling.
That's the thing with Dyson. His best lap time over the race is a 33.02. His last lap was a 34.1. But then again, it wasn't as slow as Gitter's on a 34.37, 34.32 for Dicciani, 34.33 for Benefield, and a 34.6 for Matt Long. So Dyson is still traveling faster than the guys in front. Which just seems crazy that even at this stage of the race, he's still extending and opening up that gap amazingly.
Yeah, I think for Nick Scheil, I think that pit may have been a great move because he might just be able to grab onto the back of Dyson right here, hook up with him, and just grab a little bit of that draft and start to make up some time. Especially if we have Green running the rest of the race, that'll help him a lot. Definitely wants to come back to that pack in front of him.
We had that almost 4.5 second gap down to 20th. We've now got 21.5 seconds with a lap down in 20th here, Rio. So there's definitely a lot of people starting to struggle. So yeah, we'll see him start making moves into the pits, I think.
Yeah, Matt Long has actually just gone into the pits. He's out already, but he did just change his tires, so I think we might start seeing some of the front runners pull in now. I wouldn't be surprised if Dyson thinks about it this time around. Gitter's definitely got to be wanting to. I wonder if he's, maybe not thinking that essentially an undercut overcut situation. I wonder if he's thinking that essentially an undercut might not be the best here. We do have more people in the pit already. Knopf is in, Tracy's in, Pearson is in. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing. Oh, yep, there we go. As I said it again, prediction queen.
No, you're. Give over, will you? It's just the beginning, isn't it? When you start seeing a couple go in, you know everybody else is gonna. It's just an. Oh my God, blimey! You're going to be an absolute nightmare there. I can tell you that much.
Only because it riles you and Zach up.
Yeah, right. You know, at the end of the day, I just find it that you're there like, yes, I got the prediction right. It's like, yes, but they are all going in anyway. But for Andrew Dyson, he is not going in there. He is not going into the pits. That is the 33 who is a back marker behind him. So, yeah, for the car behind there, he's just trying to stay involved, I think. That's actually Nick Shell behind him. I'm not quite sure why I've got him as 05 and he's got him as 33, and he's the only one who's got the wrong number on. So a little bit confused by that one. Get it stopped. Get it stopped.
Ooh, that was close. I think he's okay. I don't think he's going to have a penalty for that.
For Dyson there, though, does look a little bit airy. So let's pick up on the first person who's pitted. That is Patrick Gitter, who is just starting that run out of the exit of 2. So where is Dyson? Well, Taylor's not in yet. Taylor is the overall leader. Dyson's now gone and in the jacks. Your fifth place is just coming round. He's got to make a bolt as Dyson. He has.
It's going to be very close.
He's got to get it up to speed. He's got to get it up to speed.
He might have to pull a block coming into turn 3.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. I think Gitter might be a little bit further away because there's Dyson there going into 3. So, yeah, Gitter did close some of the gap, but he didn't quite get as close as probably he would have liked. Pedro Palladino, Abreu, Mello and Knopf are all very much wrapped up together, so they want to be a little bit more careful, these guys, as we're going into the last 46 laps of the race. And what a very interesting, exciting 46 it has been. Straight running green, which has been absolutely amazing. So sure, it can do and carry on this throughout the rest of the race as well. It's been definitely a battle of wheels and longevity and keeping the car out the wall, hasn't it? Because I think that's one of the things that some people overlook with these races. You know, they seem, it's like we were talking yesterday and we said we know it might sound crazy, but it actually seems longer not having cautions, because you are just going round and round. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a fatigue thing. I think when you have the caution, again, you can't relax per se, but it's not as tense as running the race. And when you are green the whole race, you're just, that whole time the mentality is I have to be on point the entire time that I'm racing, so it makes it feel like much longer than it really is. Benefield actually down in 6 and did go into the pits on lap 151, so I wonder if it is a case of that where he's just, the longer running is maybe just starting to wear on him a little bit, because he had that great run earlier in the race and now he's down in 6, which isn't bad, but he definitely isn't showing the same pace he was earlier. So I do wonder if it is just people starting to get fatigued as we've gone almost 100 laps without a caution.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, 90. I don't know why I thought 50.
No, it was lap 90, wasn't it? So yeah, we've gone 68 laps without a caution. We've seen green flag pit stops, and we're still running here as well. I want to give you a very interesting stat about this circuit. Now, I didn't actually think that this was an interesting stat, and I'm very impressed of how they've actually got this stat, right? Now, on the Homestead Miami Speedway.com, you can go and have a look and look at the track history. Now, one of the things they say is that the entire Speedway landscape, okay, so I'm going to presume that's the whole of the infield and all of the landscape itself, you know, all of the bits in the inside, you know, you can see that there as well. Now, so the entire Speedway landscape, along with its 1,005 palm trees, weighs an estimated 10 billion pounds. Now, that's a very impressive stat. And B, who the hell come up with that stat?
How do you get that? When does the depth of the track end? Like, where's the measurement? I don't.
Well, they pick it up and they stick it all on a scale, and then they weigh it from there. I don't know, but look, at the end of the day, that's what it says for the Homestead Miami. The entire Speedway the landscape weighs an estimated 10 billion pounds. So
it feels really made up.
Well, it might do, but it's on their website. You know, fair play to them here as well. Drumheller finding himself in that battle with Pearson. Pearson's just gone and run him down that backstretch around the outside. Drumheller's trying to come back underneath him on the entrance into free. Side by side, they're going to make... Yes! Keep it out, keep it out, keep it out, keep it out! Oh!
Good recovery.
Good recovery, but boy, oh boy, did Drumheller and Pearson decide it was going to be interested to try and make it there as well. So, yeah, great recovery, and we still got this get along battle there as well. That's just one of the many useless stats on the Homestead Miami website. I'm not going to lie.
No, there's more.
There is a lot more. You know, the oval fencing cable barrier system includes more than 33 miles of high-strength steel cable, and more than 9,000 clamps are used to hold the cable in place. The cable is long enough to stretch from Miami to Fort Lauderdale.
Would you believe that I'm American? I don't know how far that is. That could be...
Oh my dearie me.
4-hour trip for all I know.
Oh my dearie me.
America's big, dude. I don't know
yes,
much.
Yes, I do know it is big, but you know, come on.
Yeah.
It is. It's 185.6 miles.
There you go. Okay.
I think. Yeah, that's from Florida to Fort Lauderdale is 185 miles. So they've got 185 miles of steel cabling there as well. Pedro Balladino, Lucas Subra, Brazilian contingency here, having a great race at the moment. Both of them up 7 places, sitting in that top 10, 11. So great job there as well. Damaris Hinkenbottom's been into the pits for about 5 minutes. Not really sure what he's been caught himself up to. Maybe he's going to be looking at calling it a day here as well. But there are some wonderful stats on their website, you know, and I think to have these stats is amazing. And whoever went out and weighed the entire landscape to get it as an estimated 10 billion pounds, well, that's just impressive on their own. So, you know, well done to them guys on the Homestead Miami. Don't forget, guys, as well, if you do want to go to any of the events, there is the doubleheader tomorrow for the NASCAR Truck and Xfinity Series, and that is on October 21st for all you guys in the US. And don't forget, there is the NASCAR Cup Series there as well on October 22nd. So if you wanted it there as well, you can go and watch the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. Taking it behind the wall for Damaris. He has now gone in and having a cup of tea. Fair play.
Yeah, I thought that might be the play. I think, unfortunately, his setup may just have been a little rough.
Yeah, I didn't quite get the pace here today. I'm sure he'll sort it out for tomorrow. You're enjoying a nice cup of tea there, Damaris, round the 1,005 palm trees of 15 different varieties scattered around Homestead, Miami. So you blink, you'll find a palm tree. Go and sit underneath me. Get a chair, do a Fernando Alonso in Brazil, get some rays. You go and chill, buddy. You go and chill. So
Let me put into perspective how insanely and unnecessarily big America is for you, right?
You've been on Google.
No, actually, this is a personal experience. The amount of chain link fence you said was 184 miles, right?
100 it stretches from Florida to Fort Lauderdale, so it's about 185 miles.
I've driven more than that just to go see a friend a couple hours away, and I didn't even leave the state that I live in.
Well done.
That's how unnecessarily big America is. There's just
I wonder where 185 miles would get me in the UK.
probably from one side to the other.
Oh yeah, I don't get me wrong. The UK, you know what I mean. Let me see. How far is... Oh, no, it won't get me from one side to the other from where I live. It will... Hold on. It will get me from my southern state. Oh, that's going to be between that. From where I am in the country, I will get to between Birmingham and Manchester. Manchester's about 211 miles away. Birmingham's about 140 miles away, so I'll get in the middle there as well. So that was basically about 185 miles. I've probably crossed a few counties at that point. Benefield now has gone up the inside of Dicciani. That is done for them. They have now swapped positions as we like going into the last 29 laps. So your top five at the moment, Dyson, Gitter, Long, Benefield and Dicciani are your last five. So a great job from everybody here as well. And we're still running green. And I'm very impressed. We've got a couple of cars a bit more spread out. We've got the Brazilians of Abreu and Palladino by now. And then we've got Jason Taylor, who was at the moment close to Cameron King. I think King has just lost that position and has dropped back a little bit. But yeah, some great racing here as well. Nice, clean racing. I think that's the thing. I think where it's been clean, it's been incredible. So there you go. You mean Miami to Fort Lauderdale? Yeah, basically... Robert, okay. Now, if you've missed my stat earlier on, the stat was the oval fencing cable barrier system, okay? It includes 33 miles of high-strength steel cable and more than 9,000 clamps and used to hold the cable in place. The cable is long enough to stretch from Miami to Fort Lauderdale. Now, I've Googled Miami to Fort Lauderdale because obviously I'm not from the US, and it's about 185 miles away. It will take you round about 2 hours and 51 minutes, depending on which way you go. I'm probably guessing on that one there, Rhea.
Yeah, sorry, I was paying more attention because Adam Benefield is actually pushing quite hard right now. He's starting to gain some of that time back, so I wonder... Miami to Fort Lauderdale is only like 30 miles. I wouldn't know. I wonder if Adam Benefield is just trying to... we're starting to bring out that pace that we saw earlier. But I'm questioning... It's definitely going to make a difference, but I'm questioning if he's going to be able to catch Dyson if he continues this pace. Because Dyson is up there pretty much alone, but he has such a gap right now. I'm curious. We do have quite a bit to go still. I mean, not a lot, but a decent amount to go still. And I think it might be possible, but unlikely. It is going to be interesting to see what Benefield can pull out right now.
Yeah. No, that's because my Google put it as Florida to Fort Lauderdale. You're right. Miami to Fort Lauderdale is about 30-something miles. So that probably was on me for Googling the wrong thing. I am from the UK. You know what I mean? Give me a break. Yes.
I mean, I'm from the U.S. and I don't know. You told me that, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably right. Sure. I've been to Florida once.
So,
what do I know?
So the cabling will stretch from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, as we see Benefield and Long still going side by side, going out that backstretch on the entrance into 3. Your runners and riders and current positions are ticking along on the bottom of your screen. Benefield does make it back up into 3rd place, mind you, but he has got Long and Digiani for company. Dyson's gap up front has come down a little bit. It was out at nearly 10 seconds. Gidder's got it down to 6 as we're going in to the last 24 there as well. And just to finish off, near enough finish off of my useless stats at Homestead, Miami, the facility's water tower has a capacity of 1 million gallons. It's enough water to fill 20,000 bathtubs.
Is that just water that they use for, like,
I don't know, it just says,
they just not hook up to mains?
I don't know, it just says the facility's water tower has a capacity of 1 million gallons, enough water to fill 20,000 bathtubs. Now, I don't know if if you've had a bath in the UK, but our baths aren't very big, so you probably can get that to about 40,000 bathtubs here. Not going to lie, because they do squeeze us in some wonderful spaces. As Digiani and Long are still swapping that places. Benefield's trying to open up a little bit of a run now to try and get on to the back of Gitter. I think he's just 2.2 seconds doable, but we'll have to see as Digiani along nose to tail as well, going on the entrance into 1 through 2 at the moment. There's 15 cars left on the lead lap. Dyson has made his way past Taylor, past Sazak, past King, past Shell, past Pearson, and now next on his sights is Randy Dromiller. So if Dromiller's not careful, he could end up behind the leader here as well, who is on for the Triple Crown currently here as well. Stage 1 winner, Stage 2 winner, and race winner. That ain't bad whatsoever. So a great run from Dyson, really, if he can just wrap this up. To be honest, Ria, I don't think there's anybody that's going to look like or looking like to get anywhere near him.
No, not really. Unfortunately for Gitter and Benefield, they're just too far back. The only way I could see anything happening is if Benefield was somehow able to close that gap to Gitter and they work together, but even still, that's kind of a long shot at this point. So I think barring a caution, Dyson has it in the bag right now. Yeah,
absolutely. Chad Keeby and Derek Heitman, of course. Heitman, last winner out at Las Vegas. Now here as well, and Scott Keeby for company. I have to keep an eye on that and see how that one develops there once more. So, to be fair, I think we come in and kind of expected a little bit more of kind of cautions. We were talking about Vegas, we were 10 cautions deep at Vegas. We're not that here, but this I thought would have been a different style and a different collective. Maybe, I don't think anybody's really expected one caution, and that caution technically come out on the stage break caution lap. So can we really say it was a forced caution? Well, we did have Grass and Dromiller and Stevens all involved, so it's probably a definite positive that we can count that as a forced caution. So, it's definitely been an interesting one. I think that's the thing, and it's showing that Homestead can produce clean racing. Yeah, we're not, we haven't got these side-by-side battles. Keeby and Heitman are one of the closest battles on track. We've got the Benefield and Digiani, but they're about nearly 8 tenths to 9 tenths away from each other. So yeah, it's not giving us the close packed battle racing, but it is giving us the clean racing. I guess from a outsider's point of view, you can't have one without the cautions, but you can have one, but then you don't get the battles. Do you get what I mean on that one?
Yeah, I understand where you're going. I think it honestly really just speaks to how good these drivers are in that they've kept it so clean on a track where even at the start we were expecting more than, I mean, we weren't expecting a lot of cautions, but we were expecting more than one, let's be honest. But it really speaks to how well they know the car and how clean they're able to keep it. There hasn't really been too much, rubbing against each other, too much door bumping or anything like that. There's been some interest. That doesn't mean there hasn't been interesting battles. There definitely has been. It's just that they know how to keep the car out of the wall while they're still using it as a tool to, pass and hinder people in front of them with the side draft and such.
Yeah, I think that was the thing for Dyson. I think when he was in that mix with Gitter, Benefield, Dicciani and Long, they were almost kind of trying to, it reminded me of somebody, Derek Heitman had a big old slide there. Keeper says, thank you very much for not taking me out, but boy, oh boy, was that close there. I think with Dyson being in that pack, it's almost like you've got a Rottweiler on a lead. And he's pulling and pulling and pulling, and you're just not letting him go. You're just pulling him back bit by bit by bit by bit. And then all of a sudden, the lead snaps. And that Rottweiler is gone. He is like, freedom. And that is exactly what Dyson did. He was being held up, held up, held up. One of them had the lead out the window. Boom. Dyson slapped the lead. Gone. 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds later, down the road, pit stop in, pit stop out, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, back to 6 seconds. He literally is been that Hulk Hogan, that Rottweiler, that lion just wanting it all, and he has definitely just gone after it. And I am so impressed with him at the moment. I think that, if anybody's watching this now, and then you're going to do tomorrow and Dyson's in there, man, park it up, give it up, because I've got a funny feeling Dyson's well capable of taking the win there as well.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be a real threat to pretty much everybody on that track, and it's just been great to see it, because it's. I'm kind of at a loss for words, to be honest. It's just been it's a different kind of racing, because it's not the typical, close bumping racing, but it's still just as interesting because he's been able to pull that big gap while basically being alone, not really having anybody to bump draft with. He's been working his way through traffic, and of course that does help a little bit with gaining a draft, but he is faster than them, so he doesn't end up getting a speed increase from them getting bump drafted or anything like that.
Exactly. Palladino and Abreu still down in that 10th and 11th. Who's going to get that final top 10 space here from the four Brazilian contingencies as well? Because Bruno Melo, although he's driving around here in 8th place, he is up 20 spots. He is that biggest gainer of the entire race. He is up 20 spots here as Bruno Melo, and has done a great job. I think one of the things that I love now is that we're sitting here, as I said earlier on, with this multicultural NASCAR intake of countries from countries, right? And I'm going to say something that might put my controversy levels that, Damaris might give me a shout going, James, we might need to have a chat. But at the end of the day, whenever we're driving in officials, or when I found driving in officials, there were always certain drivers that we talked about, the Red Bull livery, that you avoided. And there was no. Good save. Well done, Lucas Abreu there. He was just about to prove me wrong at that point. And there was always certain things, certain countries that you looked at avoiding because you knew the style of driving. And, you know, one of them was Brazil, the South American contingency. There was also the Europeans as well around Portugal, Spain, that sometimes caused a little bit of a drama and chaos, and people were moaning. And to see the fact that these guys are in this series and they're raising the profile of themselves, they're raising the profile of the Brazilians driving NASCARs and how they can keep it clean, they can do it. And I think it's great for them because there are drivers out there who can actually drive, and there are drivers from countries that might be able to drive and are incredibly quick, but they're just incredibly stupid in the process, you know, and that's the thing. And I think the more countries that can produce drivers within these series can again prove that they are able to drive. And I know that Mello, as I said, he's up 20 places. He's ahead of the pole man, Jamie Knopf, who's down in 9th. So he's just been going about his business. I didn't actually notice he'd gained 20 until literally about 2 minutes ago when I looked up, and he has done. But Coelho, Palladino, Brewer, Mello have done a great job for their Brazilian country and a great job within this NASCAR environment. I think it's absolutely amazing what they've done. Gitter and Benefiel and Dicciani battling it out here once more. They're in amongst backmarkers, mixing it up. And Dyson, well, Dyson's just being Dyson. He's gone at the moment as well, as Benefiel does look at taking that position away. He's now up into second place. But yeah, I think the standard of driving here has just been impressive because, as I said, the last caution was on lap 90, and we're now here on lap 99.
Yeah, absolutely. I even seeing some of the cars start to get a little loose. We saw Brew earlier just start to wiggle on that straight. He still managed to keep it under control. He lost a bit of time, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been, and as bad as we would have seen from other series or other leagues rather, or
an official league if you really want to look at it.
Oh my! If we were in an official league, somebody would have seen him sliding and gone, well, I don't care because it's not me, and run through it. Yeah, that was a huge pile up.
I think that's it.
Nobody in collisions cares.
Exactly.
Officials cares.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing. You know, if you did a 200-mile race and an official, you could start it at 1 o'clock in the evening, and I can guarantee you're probably still going at 6 at night, because it really does have that tendency in officials. And I do find it from my I rating down at the lonely 800 mark to that middle 1350, 1700 mark, and then you got the 18 to the 2.5K mark. I think the Dale Earnhardt Jr., you know, and it just seems crazy that the more you get into it, the more rough some of the racing is. You know, I watched a pro race in a series, and it's just imaginable. And unfortunately, when people put on the Red Bull livery, they see Max Verstappen and having an incident in Spa and purposely taking somebody out. They think that's the norm. You know what I mean? And then next, you know, they're going hurtling around and banging somebody else out. So. Yeah, I'm a bit lost for words at certain points, to be honest, when it comes to things like that. I'm glad they don't do this length in officials, and that's no disrespect to Damaris or anybody else in this league for doing this length. I think this is absolutely amazing. They're not called 100% because they're going to go and do 25% track length. But, you know, at the end of the day, the fact that these guys have done what they did now we're on lap 198. And last caution was over 100 laps ago. Props. Absolute massive props as Dyson A's going to make his way through back markers and is going to lap literally everybody up to Jason Taylor, I believe, who was in front of him. But B, we are now on the final lap of the race, and Dyson here is looking like he's going to wrap up this Triple Crown. Bruno Mello, is he going to wrap up a top 7 and make it 21 places gained over Heitman? We'll keep an eye on your race winner, who is coming into the entrance of 3, but Mello and Heitman battling side by side. Gitter and Dicciani as well here once more, but it is going to be Andrew Dyson. He is going to take this checkered flag. It is the Australians Triple Crown stage winner. 1, stage 2, 1, race 1, and it's the charge down the line, but I think it's going to be Benefield and Gitter and Dicciani in that order as everybody else comes running down once more. What about Bruno Mello? It is Mello. He didn't quite jump Heitman at the end of that one. And then others, as you can see, somebody actually in the wall, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, that may have been Coelho on the final lap. I think Coelho did just go and puncture the wall on that final lap there as well. But a great job for everybody. Here he is, your victory lane, your man of the hour, your Triple Crown. Great job from Andrew Dyson. 3 out of 3 for the whole evening. Stunning.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a great job. I said it before, he was really underestimating himself. Though as much as we've been giving him credit, we should also mention that Adam Benefield did come back in those last couple of laps there. He was, a couple seconds from Patrick Gitter, but he managed to find that pace again, which is, it's great to see. A close race between the two of them, a closer race between the three of them would have been interesting, but it doesn't hurt to see what we saw.
Yeah, definitely. Andrew Dyson is your winner with Adam Benefield in second, Patrick Gitter in third, Matt Dicciani in fourth, Chad Keeby in fifth, Matt Long sixth with Derek Heitman in seventh. Then you got Bruno Mello in eighth, Jamie Knopf in ninth, Pedro Palladino in 10th, Danilo, oh dearie me, Danilo Coelho in 11th, Lucas Abreu in 12th, Jason Taylor in 13th. He is the last man on the lead lap. Then you've got Nick Olford 14th, Randy Drumiller 15th, Eli Sazak 16th, Ben Tracy 17th, Cameron King in 18th, Nick Shell 19th, Jordan Pearson 20th, and then they're the last of the one lap down runners. Brian Messer 2 laps down, Damaris Hinkenbottom 49, Dalton Mobley 67, Wayne Grass 107, Benjamin Stevens 112, there as well, Sean O'Brien 116, John Delaney 118, and then Randy Belk there as well. Now, if you're wondering why there are people out and yet we've only had one real caution, well, it's not because they've crashed out, it's because they've gone into the pits and taken a break here as well. Let's start this off. Let's have a chat with a man who finished in third place here, one Mr. Patrick Gitter. Patrick, welcome into the booth, dear sir. How are you?
Hey, doing all right, man. Fun race, exciting race. Just didn't have anything there for Dyson at the end, man. He had fantastic long run pace the whole race.
Oh, mate, yeah. I that was the thing, I think, with Dyson all evening. His long runners, they started getting towards that longer breaks, that 45, that 90 mile. It was like a rocket. Absolute rocket. But overall for you, third place, not horrendous, right? Not horrendous in your championship, not horrendous here as well. You come in the third place here as well. Do you feel you've got the pace to get up there as well? You didn't quite. Did you think when Benefield was down in 19th on the grid, did you sit back and think, oh man, maybe I can get some points back here?
Oh, dude, no way. Adam makes his way up to the front one way or another. So I knew it was just a matter of time. And he was up there, and I think he probably made some pretty good adjustments on that last green flag pit stop. I saw him fall back a little bit on the restart, and I figured he was saving his tires. I was trying to maintain track position best I could. Just to see what my car would do. I pushed a little bit harder early, just kind of see what would happen. So it did fall off a little more that last run. So wasn't surprised to see Adam and Matt up there. They both ran a great race there at the end with us.
Yeah, Matt giving you a nice little run down to the line as well. A bit of excitement for you as well there as well. But Patrick, look, a stunning job on your third place. Well done, dear sir, for you. Is there anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to you guys in the booth for broadcasting. We appreciate it. Shout out to the guys that run 100% awesome league. Would recommend guys check it out if they're interested. Shout out to EPI, Team Conti, C12 Design Shop. And I think that takes care of it. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks for what you do.
No worries, bud. Well, thanks so much for popping in, and look forward to having a chat maybe next week as we head to Martinsville.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Take care, man. So next up, we will have a chat with the man who is leading the championship. He did gain 17 places throughout the race, and a lot of them he did within the first 70. He finishes in second place. Once more here, Adam Bedingfield, welcome in, dear sir. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm not bad, man. A little bit hot, but, you know, not too bad. Probably not as hot as you, though, mate, right?
Yeah, a little warm. A little warm.
Good race overall?
No, we got absolutely embarrassed. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do before tomorrow night. But you know, that's kind of what this D2 is for, to come in here and kind of shake down, see what you got for the big Saturday night races. But yeah, no, we got absolutely embarrassed. We got drug pretty bad.
Is that based off the fact of your qualifying position, or was that the based off the fact of your race pace in general?
No. Just overall pace. I mean, we stage breaks. It brings everybody back together. I mean, heck, on that last one, I restarted top 5. Like, you know, we got plenty of pace on the front, and you know, middle of the run. It's just toward the back half of the middle of the run and the long run. You know, it's just we ain't got nothing. It's just it's a complete embarrassment. It's just like he grabs another gear and he's gone.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. We basically explained it of trying to almost keep a dog on the leash. And, you know, once the dog snaps that leash, he's gone. And he was gone there. What can you do about your long run pace? You know, because there aren't very often occasions when you come into a 200-lap race and you do only have long run. It doesn't happen very often. We know that from past experiences, the many series, many leagues, whatever. So what are you going to be able to do about that to basically see how you can catch up with Dyson on that one?
We're going to go down the highway running about 75 or 80 and take the notebook and throw it completely out the window and start from scratch. I mean, that's the only thing we can do. We had me, the 21, and the 4. I mean, we're all basically on the same package and just slightly different variations. And I mean, clearly we finished second, third, and fourth. I mean, you know, the platform that we got now isn't going to work. It ain't going to be it's not it. So we got a lot of work to do. I mean, I think I know how to manage tires and how to, you know, be quick on the back end of a run or a long run. That's kind of you know, the way that I race. And Dyson, he's not known for that. So, but for him to do what he did on the long run is very impressive and very stout. So, clearly Dirty South has got something figured out for this week.
Yeah, it definitely has as well. Well, Adam, thanks so much for joining us there, bud. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, just Martin PC and EPI, Team Conti, Dustin Hall. He jumped in right there for the last pit stop and gave me an idea, and it kind of woke it up, but it didn't. I mean, the only thing we could do is match times with someone that's 7.5 seconds ahead. So, but yeah, thanks to all those guys, and go get to work.
Awesome stuff. Well, Adam, thank you so much for joining us there, bud. And maybe we'll see you on track next week at Martinsville.
Yes, sir.
There we go. Now as well, we can have a chat with the man who took the Triple Crown. Stage 1, Stage 2, race win, Andrew Dyson. Absolute incredible pace. Once he broke free, this Rottweiler did a runner. Well done. Welcome in, Andrew. How are you, sir?
Thanks, man. Yeah, pretty happy with that. It's cool.
Okay. Right. Andrew, I think we're gonna work on it here. Your modesty is very overwhelming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Everyone tells me that. I just tomorrow's a big race, so we'll see how we go.
Yeah, I know tomorrow is, but you've wrapped it up. Would you expect yourself to do 3 out of 3 tomorrow night?
Probably not. I didn't expect it tonight, to be honest. I really thought that these guys were probably foxing a little bit, because normally, as far as like tire wear goes on a long run, these guys are aliens as far as I'm concerned, because I can't really. It's always like the last 5, 10, 15 laps. Like, I haven't got anything for everybody. Whoever I'm racing around most of the time in this league. So I was pretty surprised to find myself in a position where I could sort of at least hold my own at the front, or not lose a whole lot of time, especially at the end of the first stage there. I didn't really lose a whole lot of time, and I was really going for it at the start there. So I was pretty surprised with that. But yeah, I mean, I'll take it, man. It's still good. It's my first over win, so I'm happy about it. Don't worry about that. But yeah, just got to back it up tomorrow, man, and do the best I can and see where I end up.
Well, let me just give you a hint. Don't change nothing, right? Because towards the end, no, dude, seriously, right? Because towards the end of your long run pace, it was incredible. If you're going to come out tomorrow and you're going to have the same track temps as what you're running at the moment, don't change a thing. Because I can tell you now, your long run pace was literally about 4 to 5 temps quicker than the people behind them. And that's the thing. When you're racking up times, you've put the cat amongst the pigeons. You've really shook it up a little bit here as well, because everybody now is looking at you going, well, hold on a minute. Andrew Dyson isn't known for saving tyres, isn't known for going that fast on a long run here. So what has he done? And everybody's up in arms. And Benefit was just like, we're going back to work. We're going back, stripping the setback at setup, starting again, because they can't keep up with you. Don't touch it. Leave it.
Yeah, I think they'll be better tomorrow. Don't worry about that. But yeah, I'll still be having a go and try my best, and we'll see where we end up. And all the boys will. All the DSR boys will be out there having a go. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Benefield's up there and Digiani's up there and Patrick's up there. But I think for you overall, to come away, as you said, with your first win, to come away with a triple crown. That ain't bad. 3 out of 3. The only thing you didn't get was pole, but that didn't really seem to matter to you either.
If there's one thing I thought I could have got, it was that. I felt like I messed up my lap a bit, and then when I saw how close I was, I thought I could have got a pole, but it didn't really matter in the end. It doesn't matter too much where you start in these over races. I feel you can. I mean, look at Adam. Pretty much every week he'll start from wherever and end up at the front. So yeah, you can pretty much start anywhere and just and run your own race from anywhere within the field and end up in a good spot, especially with these stages. You can always sort of rescue a bad start or a spin or a wreck here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing with NASCAR and ovals. It doesn't matter if you're a lap down by the end of the first stage, you'll probably get it back at some point as well. I was quite surprised that we had only gone literally probably for the 2 stage breaks. That grass incident, it happened on the stage lap. Were you surprised by the least cautions that you've had?
I was, man, because I was expecting when we had that green flag pit stop in the last part of the race there, it's pretty much the first time everyone's going in for their pit stops. And I thought if there's ever a time where we're going to have a yellow, it's probably now, or towards the end of the race when the rear tire goes off. But going into the pit lane here, it gets pretty sketchy, and I was a little bit slidey on the way in.
Yeah, we saw, mate. Sorry, dude.
For sure somebody else is going to. I hung on to it though.
You did?
But yeah, I mean, I expected there'd be someone sliding out or spinning or going backwards into the pits or ending up on the track or something. But yeah, especially those last 20 laps, I'm like, please, no caution, because these guys are pretty quick on the short run, like we saw at the start of the last stage there. So I was praying.
Yeah, I bet you was, mate. But it literally was, dude. Once you broke off that leash, mate, you were gone. An incredible race from you there. Part that car up, go and enjoy a teddy, stick a kangaroo on the barbie and go and have some nice roux meat for dinner. Andrew Dyson, well done there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, just thanks everyone for coming out for a race tonight. Appreciate that. Thanks to all the guys behind 100% Cup and everyone who gets around it and makes it such a great league. Appreciate that. And you guys for putting together the broadcast and yelling at virtual race cars, pixel race cars, all those things. And yeah. So look forward to tomorrow now.
Yeah, have a good one tomorrow, mate. I'll look forward to trying to have a tune in if I can there as well. But good luck, buddy. Don't touch the car, leave it. You did a stellar job. Have a good one, mate.
Thanks, man. My tyres are well overinflated now, so thanks for that. But yeah.
No worries. Take care. Well, there you go, Rhea. I think we can safely say that has brought the end of a very interesting evening of racing. You know, the difference in interviews there was kind of telling. You know, I didn't think Adam was going to come in and be like that. I thought he would have been a little bit more upbeat than the fact that they've got second place from where he was. I wonder if his expectant level was they should have beaten Andrew Dyson and they didn't. And the words, yeah, he didn't seem happy, and I understand that. And you know, he's obviously got a standard that he wants to keep for himself. But I wouldn't beat myself up too much if I'd have gained 17 places and finished in second place.
Yeah, I think he did seem very, I think defeated would be a good word, which, I mean, I guess there is an argument to be made there that, you know, second isn't winning, but he did a great job. He like you said, he gained 17 places through the race. He had a couple of minor stints where he did drop a little bit of pace, but then he managed to bring it all back in the last 20 or so laps, and it was a great drive from him. I think he should definitely consider how well he was doing throughout the whole thing and how consistent he also was. I think Dyson was just dialed in, and they're, you know, not having an answer for that isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, Dyson was dialed in, and he did break loose. He broke loose. Man, did he break loose. And he did it in all three parts of that race. He did it at the stage 1, he did it at the stage 2, and he did it on the green flag pit stop. So a great run from him. But guys, I think that's going to wrap it up here as well. Thanks so much to everybody that has joined us, tuned in for this race. Hope you enjoy watching it back. If you do, jump in, like, subscribe, turn on the bells. That would be absolutely amazing. But for now, guys, from myself, I've been James Parfitt alongside Rhea Subra up in the JPB broadcasting booth. And as always, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.